wieners, floppy wieners, floppy wieners, floppy wieners. One wiener next to another wieners. You guys aren't going to join in at all? All right. All right. Nobody here watches South Park, you fucking charlatans?
Nope.
I hate the both of you so much. I actually almost hate you more than I hate this last season of Game of Thrones.
I don't think that's possible.
It's probably not possible. But welcome back to the Hateful Geeks. I am one of your many hosts, Phil.
This is Sweeney.
No, maybe.
And your three hateful lords of the North and South are here to explain to you why this season of Game of Thrones was a gigantic Valyrian steel sword to the nutsack. Lord Andy, first of his name.
Thank God.
Drinker of Monster.
Drinker of Monster, father of young boy,
Collector of funny books.
collector of pop figures. How did you feel about Game of Thrones? let's okay.
All right,
all of us here.
Season 8, one-word review. The worst review I could give anything. Meh.
Oof, you gave it a meh. All right,
Game of
us
Thrones,
here.
up to this point, was the greatest television program ever. Like, it was it. Like, Game of Thrones was it. It was amazing TV. To go to, meh.
Oh man, well, okay, I feel the same way, but you didn't sign the petition, did you?
No.
All right, for those of you listening to our show, there's a petition going around to have the Double D's remake season 8. It's not going to happen, bro.
And if you sign petitions or you create petitions to change anything pop culture related because you didn't like how it turned out, misery, you're a fucking loser.
Yeah, dude, just let it go, man. It sucked. It is what it is. It's a Dexter situation. It's a lost situation. You just have to accept it and move along with your life. Of the three of us here, I read actual Game of Thrones prior to the series. There was only the first book I read. It was a tough read. Then the show came out and popularized it, and I finished up and caught up to book 5 because 6 and 7 still aren't out yet.
He did come out and say he's going to try to finish him by next year.
Yeah, he said by 2020. We'll see about that, fatty. We'll see about that, Red Lobster man. Now, of the two, have you guys read any of the novels? Okay, I'm sorry, Sweeney, since you're the one who can actually read.
No, I did not read these novels.
Dude, like you said, it is an excruciating read most of the time.
It's very verbose in a lot of cases. I wouldn't say it's Tolkien bad, because Tolkien made like 30 pages about grass in the Shire. And as much as I love talking about grass, that's too much, man. But Game of Thrones, I mean, it's not poorly written. It's just you have to really be into it to get through the language that George R.R. Martin uses.
I've heard like every chapter is like a different character's point of view.
That's correct.
And there's some characters that you're just like, next.
There are complete throwaway characters that he uses as a point of view, only because I guess he gets bored of writing from the perspective of his primary characters, so he starts going off on these like, I'm going to talk about the perspective of this dwarf
like
who's
pie.
in the
an entire chapter of hot pie.
Yeah, those are rough.
To him?
Exactly.
Hot pie currently works at the Kneeling Prince or the. It's the bar in the north.
It's a tavern that they come across. What was it, like season 5 that they came across him again?
Yeah.
He was
adopted.
adopted.
And the Hound come back.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was adopted by the owner of that tavern, and he works there baking wolf cookies for randos that show up. And then he hits on Arya, and she's like, nice try, Dubbo.
There's so many characters that just disappear in this show.
That is a crazy thing too, Sweeney. So the books have like 100 times more characters in them than the show does. Obviously, you can't employ that many people for a television show. And I feel like the limitations of television is really what brought this season to a heel. And so let's just get into the meat and potatoes of this. It's a hot pie's baked it up for you. And let's just get into season 8.
We're going to serve you some spoiler pie.
Yeah, big spoiler pie. And let's be honest,
pun.
if you haven't watched Game of Thrones or aren't caught up, or if you're Tim, let's be honest, this is your own fault. Game of Thrones has been the greatest television experience for the better part of a decade. If you're that guy who's like, I've never watched an episode, nobody gives a fuck.
No.
Not one person cares.
You are not cool for not watching.
I will spoil the shit out of it. I don't care how long you're going to wait. If you literally don't even know what the Red Wedding is at this point, then you've done this to yourself. This is self-inflicted. So get ready for a beating. All right. Season 8, Game of Thrones.
Okay.
It's finally over. You can never say, I can't wait for the next season of Game of Thrones.
Done.
This is the end. The War of the Five Kings, long over. The War of the Three Queens, 2 queens, done. The Long Night, finally over. White Walkers, whites, zombies versus emos in the north. It's all said and done. Let's start with that. We have been waiting how long for the White Walkers? Literally episode 1. They are teased.
One.
Episode
And I mentioned
1.
Sweeney today. Remember Craster's Keep, where they're like sacrificing the babies, and they showed like the walker picks up a baby and touches his face, and the baby's eyes go White Walker blue.
Right.
For
they
what?
basically confirm the source of the White Walkers is Craster's sons that he throws away because he likes to keep his daughter wives. And they make more. The Night's King makes more White Walkers from babies. This plot element is literally never explored again.
Never. Do the
Not
babies
once.
age? Because I thought once their like eyes turn white, you're done. You're not going to decay. You're not going to age. You're not going to die. Like, did they just want babies to like get into little tight places to bite people that they couldn't get through themselves?
Do you think maybe that those babies are special and there's like a big White Walker nursery somewhere and they're just like waiting?
why?
Like, how come no one's coming back to feed me? Probably not. They probably all burst into little icicles too. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You'll never know. Why? Because Double D's, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss decided that they just completely forgot half the fucking story. and this isn't even the worst offense. Like this season, the cool thing about Game of Thrones is there's a story for everyone. That's why it's so popular. There's all kinds of different plot elements and characters. Like, are you a Stark fan? Do you want to see them get their revenge? Or do you care about the Lannisters like coming out on top? Do you care about like, oh my God, are the White Walkers going to destroy humanity? What about the dragons? They're coming. The dragons are coming. They're on their way. It's been like 400 years, but they'll be there someday. Like, do you want Daenerys to get like her throne back? There's a fuck ton of different cool characters and stories taking place, and we got like maybe 1 or 2 plots actually like resolved, if that, or even mentioned for that matter.
And this
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying in this season we really didn't get any plots or any twists or any like story. It was literally just like,
No, they told.
here's the end.
They
Done.
ended season 7, and then they said it's going to take 2 years because of this great production, and we have X amount of hours we want to tell, so you're only getting 6 episodes. You're telling me that they could not have made this a 10-episode season.
It needed to be a 10-episode season.
Everything was rushed. Like you said, the White Walkers, episode 1 started the White. Like, I get it. It's called Game of Thrones. It's a battle for the throne. To me, the throne became second fiddle compared to the dead, which they made sure to pound into your head saying, the throne does not matter if we're not alive. And they resolve it in 1 episode.
Well, 3. It was episode 3, technically.
But I mean,
Oh, it's
the battle,
okay, I see what
of
you're saying.
Winterfell.
In the span of 1 episode,
Yes.
it was resolved.
1 episode, they show up, dead, done. White's
This
done.
was probably the most disappointing episode of the season for me, short of the finale. To me, I have one of my favorite plot elements of the books is the prophecy of the prince who was promised. It's been mentioned in season 6 by the Red Priestess who comes to the pyramid in Marine. It's mentioned maybe a couple other times throughout the story in the movies. It's mentioned a fuck ton in the books. It is the Song of Ice and Fire. This for our listeners and for either of you who are not 100% familiar with the prince who was promised, the prophecy states that during the original Long Night 8,000 years ago, that's 8,000 years ago, when the original White Walkers and when the Children of the Forest were like WMDing us with Icemen. During this time frame, there was a hero. His name was Azor Ahai. I'm not going to spell that or say it again. Azor Ahai, Acai Berry. We'll just call him Acai Berries. So Acai Berries was a great hero, and he spent the time trying to forge a weapon that could destroy the White Walkers. And he made steel. He made all kinds of shit. He used dragon's fire. He used Valyrian steel. Nothing worked. Nothing was the right way until he made a Valyrian steel sword and then plunged it in the heart of his fucking wife to cool it down, because that's how you forge swords, by killing your wife in the heart. So when he removes the sword, it bursts into the flames and it basically absorbed her being. And that sword became Lightbringer. And Azor Ahai used Lightbringer to end the long night and drive back the forces of death. And he died. I don't know who the fuck knows what happened to him after that. The prophecy of a prince who was promised states that there will one day be a prince or princess based on your High Valyrian, nerds, and that will be the reborn version of Azor Ahai, and they will pull forth a sword from the fire, and they will be Lightbringer, and then it'll be reborn, and they will put an end to the White Walkers for good. Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, that is Daenerys' older brother, Daenerys and Viserys' older brother, the guy who got murdered by Robert Baratheon on the Trident during Robert's Rebellion, he read the prophecy of Azor Ahai and decided, and it said there must be 3 heads to the dragon. He already had 2 kids from Elia Martell, so he needed a third, but he was kind of done with Elia Martell. And he also believed that the blood of the dragon, meaning a Targaryen, must combine with the blood of the first men, the only people in Westeros who have a direct blood relation to the first men, and that's the people who basically were like magical and could warg and like live with the children of the Force, were the Starks. So he marries Lyanna Stark in secret after divorcing Elia Martell, igniting the war of the Robert's Rebellion, and starting all of this shit. All of this, all of Game of Thrones, the entire fucking story is because of the prophecy of a prince who was promised.
And it was just thrown to the side in the show.
At no point in time in anything of the last season do they resolve if Jon is actually the prince who was promised, or is it because who got the fucking kill on the Night King, Andy? Arya motherfucking Stark.
With a dagger.
A Valyrian steel dagger.
That Bran gives to her. Like, it's gifted to him from Littlefinger, and then he gives it to Arya like, yeah, you're going to need this more than me. Foreshadowing.
Well, it was the dagger that was actually supposed to kill Bran.
It was the cat's paw dagger that Joffrey gave to a guy to murder
no,
him.
you're going to need this.
Right.
Joffrey had put a hit out on Bran because he had overheard Robert saying you shouldn't suffer a cripple to live. So he thought he'd do his father proud by killing him. And I guess Joffrey was given that dagger from Tyrion as a birthday present, but Tyrion won it from Littlefinger. So Joffrey used the blah, blah, blah. The whole point is, the entire point of a prince who was promised was that he was going to be the Messiah and save us all. And Jon did a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
But he never pulls forth a flaming sword and does Lightbringer, and he ends up getting boned in the end.
Nobody pulls forth a flaming sword outside of what's-his-face that had a...
Stannis Baratheon. Yeah. And that was some bullshit because it was already in a barbecue. Right. It doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
What about...
It doesn't count. It was already on fire. If I douse my fucking sword in gasoline, it doesn't count. It's just supposed to burst into flames.
What about,
magic.
What was his name? Beric Dondarrion or what?
Beric Dondarrion only did that because he learned magic from
Melisandre.
Oh god, the red priest.
Yeah, Melisandre.
The guy, the drunk one who resurrected him a bunch
of
times.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. The one that also just didn't last or have any kind of development.
He ate a fat one real bad in that. Which fight did he die in?
Wasn't that like season 2?
No. That was like season 7. He died.
Oh, was it that late?
He died north of the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was when they were fighting on the frozen lake.
If anyone, Thoros of Myr. Thoros of Myr.
Not Thor.
Yeah, so Thoros has taught him some fucking blood god magic. Good for you, buddy. That's not the same thing. So the whole point of Azor Ahai is he's like the chosen one of the red god, the god of light, Lord of light, whatever you want to fucking call it. And they're the polar opposite enemies of the other, or the great other, which is like the god of death.
Right.
It's dark side versus light side.
I was gonna say, Phil, you are our Stark fan. You've always, from day one, you were the Starks. They were done wrong. They're awesome. They should get their revenge. How upset were you that they literally turned Jon for 5 episodes into just standing around?
I am pissed off because I knew based on my research of the most recent book, which is A Dance with Dragons. At the end of A Dance with Dragons, it corresponds with Jon being stabbed and betrayed at the Night's Watch. That's the end of A Dance with Dragons. That's the most recent book that's come out.
That's when the books ended.
That's when the books have ended. We haven't gotten shit from George R.R. Martin since then. At that point in time, I knew he was the prophesized, or I knew who his parentage was, and I knew that he would be resurrected because it makes sense. Everything pointed to Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark being his parents. It fits. Yeah. And they confirmed that in the show. So a lot of nerds and fans were like, yeah, we were right. And double D's were like, fuck you, it doesn't matter that you were right. Yeah. Nobody cares that you were right.
Zero point to him being a Targaryen.
That's what I was going to say. Like, they gave us this big, like, hell yes, he's Targaryen, awesome. And then it doesn't mean shit about the rest of the story.
Nothing.
It's not the fact that he was a threat.
Him and Daenerys being in love was the only thing. Like, that's what drove him to be like, I'm going to kill you. Like, them being related, nothing.
I agree. Like, what's the point? Okay, so what's the biggest problem with the world of Westeros? They have shitty monarchs, right?
Yeah.
They can't buy a good king that can, like, run the country and not be a fucking asshole. They're either sadistic or they're lazy. There's no in between for some reason. So here's, like, the guy who never wanted to be king, but every time he takes charge, shit just goes right.
Yeah.
He was able to unite the North. He was able to take back his house from the Boltons. He was able to, like, save the wildlings, which have ended up basically saving everybody. Mm-hmm. Everything he touches turns to gold. Right. And what do? You're like, you make him literally number one in line for the throne. Nah, we're not going to give it to him. Fuck it. Now we'll get to that in a minute. That's a later situation. Let's continue talking about the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah, that's where I was going. So
night.
when I asked you, like, how upset were you that he just stood around? There was a scene. So I loved and hated a lot of the Battle of Winterfell. Like,
I'm amazed we were able to watch half of it. It was so fucking dark.
See, I didn't have any issues, but I did sit in I had no lights on at all. And so, like, the whole visual of, like, the Dothraki, like, running out and just fading into death. Like, I was like, all right, shit's about to go down. It's cool. And then when the dragons are, like, strafing and blowing the fire down, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Then when they're struggling to light the wood that they had set up to create a fire boundary around.
Yeah, the trench.
And Melisandre, they have to, like, guard her to bring her out so she could do some magic to do this.
Because nobody heard of a fucking flaming arrow.
Jon is sitting on a fire-breathing dragon, watching them struggle to light wood on fire.
I'm not even going to try to defend this shit.
I'm like,
I think, and I agree.
Dracarys. I think Dracarys, motherfucker.
I agree.
Just, come on.
But I think what they wanted to do was actually prove that she was a little bit magical still.
I get it.
That was it.
Put him up in the sky. Put him somewhere so he is not literally watching this happen in front of him. But you're right.
Like, that was kind of silly, but I think it was just a plot device there for them to, like, oh, look, she really is magic. Look, she can show off her magic.
I already knew that when she lit all the Dothraki cars on fire.
I know.
Which I think
that was like, I think that was literally
waste of magic,
that was the only purpose.
If I saw her do that, though, and I was like agnostic at that point, I'd be like, motherfucking Lord of Light, I believe. I fucking believe.
I'm sold.
found the real one.
Man. But then again, like, you've seen shit for other gods too, so why wouldn't you be supported? Like, oh, I see White Walkers, I worship death now,
or warging and be like, oh, the old gods.
I'd probably believe in the old gods. They seem pretty nature related. They're not too invasive like the Seven are.
Outside of, like, that, some people, like Phil said, that it was dark for a lot of people.
It was very dark.
But I think the one thing about this season, including this episode, was the cinematography was very well done. A lot of, like, they put a lot of good, like, effort into how it looked and how it appeared. Maybe the story wasn't the greatest. Maybe, like, the acting, the lines ain't not the greatest. But, like, the actual cinematography, I thought was, like, top notch. For, like,
I fucking hired Zack Snyder.
It was beautiful.
Right,
it was beautiful. You baked me a beautiful pie and took a shit in it.
Exactly. Like, you had all this gorgeous, like, eye candy. Like, oh my god, it looks so awesome. Like, in some of the parts, I mean, well, I think the most badass part was Mormont when she stabbed the giant in the eye.
Yeah.
Oh, Lyanna. That of all the okay, so of all the people I actually wanted to live she was in my top
absolutely.
3. But I knew she was gonna die.
But she went out like a badass.
That
Mormont
entire
was
house is
cursed to
just
die.
gone now.
Yeah.
I aced. Oh, by the way, I won my my work Deadpool. I got an almost perfect score. The only thing I didn't guess was who was going to turn into a white. I missed Dolorous Ed.
Yeah.
I thought he was just going to. I thought he might live for a while, but I was like, nah. Then John can't be the new leader of the Night's Watch. And let's be honest, that's pretty much how they're going to end this. So so they build this whole fucking thing up. Winterfell gets wrecked. Everyone's getting like destroyed by zombies. Of course, all the main characters are like on their own pile of dead bodies. They're just wrecking things left and right. Gendry's still like, where's Arya? Where's Arya? I'm still horny. Thank you for that. Was another thing. Thank you for wasting my fucking time with that. The whole time I've been like, man, I really hope Arya and Gendry get back together. And like they finally bang.
That was it. Arya was like, I'm good. Bye.
Did anyone else feel a little awkward? Like you watch this chick, this little girl, you watch Maisie Williams kind of grow up, and now she's over 18. It's not, and you didn't see anything inappropriate. It was like some tasteful side bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, didn't anyone feel like a kind of an unhappy papa? Like, no,
It was a little awkward. It was
a little.
I was
awkward.
like, if it starts to, like, if that camera starts to come around from the side to the front, I might have to avert my eyes.
I might have to like fast forward. I don't know. Like part of me is like, no, Maisie, don't do that. And I get it. She's a grown woman. Do what she wants with her body. That's all her. That's her power. She can do it as she please. But poor Gendry, dude. He literally just sat there and had to take it. He didn't have even a choice. She was like, we're going to die tomorrow. So I need to know what this feels like. Don't look me in the face. Don't look at mine. Just look over there. Look over there. All right, we're done. All said and done, John like literally is about to commit death by dragon. Right? He's like,
I'm gonna charge this.
He's just yelling at it. He's not even like trying to stab it anymore. He's just like,
The dragon battle was pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely.
When they got above the clouds, and then Rhaegar, like literally rips a chunk out of the neck of dead Viserion. So then when Viserion is down there trying to blow his fire, you see it like shooting out the sides of his neck and everything. But he didn't give a fuck because he's already dead.
Damn right. You didn't kill the brain, motherfucker. You got to kill the brain, stupid Rhaegal. And Drogon's like, I'm got better shit to do. I'm covered in zombies right now. I got to go.
Drogon's getting like eaten by all these little zombies. Like, ants.
He's like,
and yet he still took it. It didn't even. He came out like nothing even happened.
Yeah.
But Rhaegal's damage sure still showed the next episode. Anyway, so yeah, and Bran's just sitting in the fucking Weirwood Forest doing absolutely nothing.
Right.
with Theon.
He's warging into ravens and sort of watching the
Not
fight.
dragons.
And not dragons.
Not what everybody wanted to see. More ravens.
Could you imagine? God, if Bran had warged into a dragon, that would have been so tight.
Right?
Yeah. How about
I would
warging
have
it
loved
into
that.
a
That
dragon
would have
that
made
is
the whole
burning
fucking
in its
episode for me.
We'll get there.
But no.
We'll get there.
Yeah. I'm just, come on.
So he's being protected in the Weirwood Forest, right? When he could have been like, I don't know, like communicating between teams, like cover this section. Oh my God, they're coming in from this side. Nope, Bran's just like, I'm watching TV. He's basically like us, watching the battle, doing nothing. Theon's there. It's like, I'm so sorry for all the shitty things I did. I'm sitting here at home looking like, fuck you, dickless
Like,
traitor.
you're going to die.
You deserve it. You've done absolutely nothing to earn this redemption. I watched 3 episodes ago. You betrayed your own fucking sister.
You jumped off
and let
a
your
boat.
uncle kid. You jumped off a boat, you pussy.
It's the last time we
What the fuck
saw
is
him.
wrong with you?
But he came back.
I don't give a shit if he came back. I give no fucks. You know what he did? He committed copicide.
He came back
which is
without
cowardly.
the Iron Fleet.
He sure
Like,
did. He came back
just
with
Theon. Like, what? Fuck off.
Oh, I mean, he came
six
back
crusty
for his sister.
barnacled sailors, and he's like, we got this.
I mean, he came back for his sister.
Yeah, and what did he get for it? A headbutt.
Yeah.
And he deserved that too. But yeah, like he's sitting like, Bran, I'm so sorry, but I got this. And he runs at the fucking Night King. He runs right at him. Doesn't even like juke. Doesn't even throw a spear. He committed death by Night King. He committed suicide.
Yeah, he just charged him.
All he had to do was wait 5 minutes. Wait 5 minutes for the fucking stealthiest ninja girl in the history of stealth to just, I don't even know what that move was, man. She somehow has the ability to jump 6 feet in the air and gets throat caught. That did nothing to her, apparently. Getting like magically stopped midair by the neck. pretty sure that would have like crushed your trachea.
It's TV.
And then does the old mic drop with the knife and stabs the fucking Night King. And then poof!
The end. The whole
That's it.
winter is coming. The whites, the dead. Done. In one episode.
Good job, Arya. You did it. Like, what the fuck? Like, what was the point of everything? I'm not saying that it's not cool, because it was badass to see Arya do it. But this wasn't. There was no buildup. There was no earning of this. This was a complete. Okay, for those of you listening, and for you two gentlemen who might not be aware, there is a dramatic element called Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's gun is a literary dramatic element that implies if you introduce an element into narrative plot, you must use it. And remove things that are unnecessary. That's how you make a compelling story. You introduce the Death Star, at some point in time, the Death Star better blow something up. You introduce lightsabers, there better be a lightsaber duel. Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? You show the Ark of the Covenant, it better open up and melt faces. Exactly. So you introduce the prince who was promised, you introduce a Targaryen, you introduce this guy who's like been fighting his ass off against the Night King. He's literally squared down with him 6 times in 8 fucking seasons. What does he do? He doesn't even get the fucking fight.
Right.
He's charging him, and the Night King's like, fight my bitches, raise my arms, fight these dead dudes. Like,
And Jon knows what he's going to do because he saw it at Hardhome. Still, to me, one of the best episodes.
that was a good episode.
And the Night King just slowly raises his arms. So what does Jon do for the next 30 seconds? Stares at him, pissing his pants. Then decides to charge him. Oh, too late. Here's your own friends back from the dead to kill you.
So awfully
Jon,
done.
they
It
made
makes
Jon
no
dumb,
fucking sense.
and it hurt my heart because he was my favorite bastard Stark.
He got lobotomized by the Poo Nanny is what happened.
He did.
He got hardcore
robbed.
lobotomized.
Rob Stark.
He got robbed. Rob Stark.
Yep, he got it.
Oh, man. So, yeah, good job, Ari. You saved the day. I mean, Winterfell looks like a fucking dung heap at this point, but you did it.
Do you think maybe this is just me trying to play devil's advocate for a second? Okay. So you said like one episode of the White Threat's done, right? Do you think maybe because there was a 2-year split from what we saw at like Hardhome, everything coming through the wall, all that stuff, had they had this episode at the end of that season, do you think it would have felt right? Like, oh, you had all that build up, and then you had this.
Like end a season with them defeating the Whites.
Well, like let's say like this was connected to that season. If you had all those battles like leading up to it, and then you had them breaking through the wall, and then you had this final like Winterfell battle, you think that would have felt better?
I liked how they ended season 7. I liked the dragon bringing the wall down because that was the.
But
shit.
What I'm implying is the fact that it was a 2-year gap that we feel that it was rushed, even though we had all that happen before.
No, to me it was rushed because it was even with that 2-year gap. You had 7 seasons of winter's coming, winter's coming, winter's coming. And they weren't talking about the weather. They're talking about the dead. They are coming. They are coming. They are coming. They fucking blasted a hole in the wall. And then it's just like, here's Arya, stab, done. Are you
I feel
kidding
that
me?
episode, I feel that scene where the Night King riding undead Viserion and blowing a hole in the wall is at the wrong location. It doesn't belong. Don't get me wrong. It looks cool as a season finale, but it's not where it belonged. It belonged mid-season 8. They should have actually settled the Cersei situation before the Night King.
The Iron Throne should have been decided. Or here's what I thought. I actually thought season 8 was going to be them tucking tail and leaving Winterfell because
North?
they've lost. They're like, we've lost so many, we have to. I wanted to see the dead get to King's Landing and Cersei's reaction of, fuck, like they're real, they're here.
Could you imagine if the Night King got inside King's Landing and rezzed
it would've
motherfuckers?
been-
Like he'd have a million man
awesome.
army.
So awesome, that would have been badass.
You just wanted him to win.
No, I thought, like we said,
Because he would have at that point.
death was literally going to be at the Red Keep, like right there at King's Landing, ready to come in when Jon has to pull out Lightbringer. He's going to pull it out, and he's going to take Lightbringer, and that's when he was going to do that. And
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like the finale of the show should have been actually like the middle of season 8, and then the second like Jon and Daenerys have their quarrel, and he like, kills her and then like removes his sword. Then they like fulfill the prince who was promised prophecy, and then the White Walkers are on the doorstep of King's Landing, and Jon takes the remaining dragons and takes the entire army and goes on a fucking Messiah rant and wrecks the entire fucking thing solo. That would have been amazing. No. But that's not. But that's the point. We aren't writing the show. Right. We've been told by the. We were actually been. The Double D's have flat out said, "Why don't you guys try write your own show?" And I retorted on their Twitter and with my own Twitter account, Andy, and I said, "Why don't you guys try writing a show that wasn't already half written for you?" Right. You fucking.
The second they had no more source material, the writing turned bad. The second they didn't have any more source material.
The only thing that I still have an issue with that is, even Martin agreed, he gave them a treatment. It was, these characters must end here. And they did that. So,
but in what order?
Exactly. Right. And they probably just muddled it all along the way.
And just because he says, well, Dany has to die by Jon's hand, he may have been implying what we've already been talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure the whole prince that was promised, it did. Every single party associated with the show, including ball dropped. Completely dropped on that.
They couldn't. Let's be honest. There's a fuck ton of fans that are hardcore in Daenerys Stormborn's camp. They are big Dany fans. You kill her mid-season, nobody cares about your finale anymore, or at least those people don't.
Yeah.
So they had to rearrange these events to keep every important, beloved character alive till the last minute.
And that's enough.
And what you did was you muddled your plot in the process.
That's the thing. I think another thing that felt rushed was her flip. Right. Like.
Oh yeah,
like we've seen signs of her having to kill like innocents, like because she had to, and you saw remorse. You saw her not really willing to do that, but she still did it because she knew it was the right thing.
I have no qualms with the direction of her character. It was, you did it in 6 episodes when you could have done this in 10.
Right. Or you could have even started like hinting at this stuff, like when she had to kill people, you could see maybe she enjoyed it, or she was like okay with it.
I mean, she did.
She didn't enjoy it.
Tell me one time she showed mercy to anyone.
No, I'm not saying she showed mercy.
Dude, she stared and watched her brother eat a fucking bowl of molten gold from her husband, her savage husband, and she was like a dragon.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she did that stuff because she had to at the point to further what her cause was.
Yeah.
Right? This is the first time I felt like she was doing these things, but it didn't feel like she was doing them to further her cause. I felt like they just wanted her to do these things.
And that's where it was rushed.
It was personal for her. When she saw Missandei's head get chopped off,
she was
but it just felt so rushed. It was like,
and it was rushed.
Flipped all this like around, like after like 7 seasons, you're like, blah, blah, blah.
That's been the theme of this finale season. They are doing all of these major emotional beats that they haven't earned. They need to earn it through plot and character development. It's called writing.
And that was also one of my issues with the battle at Winterfell too. All these major characters, we are so used to, like, a normal season, it was always episode 9 when, like, the big shock would happen. And then they would wrap it up in 10. Mm-hmm. And this one, I was like, Winterfell is going to be that big shock. Like, we're going to lose so many people we like. And every fucking major character, with the exception of the Mormonts, just walk right out of there.
Dude, I said it on my Facebook. I'll say it again. They paid nothing for that win. They got it for free, as far as I'm concerned. Lyanna Mormont, she ain't doing shit, but you got her soldiers, you're good. Jorah Mormont, nobody needs the old guy hitting on the young lady around anymore. Theon, dickless traitor. We literally got rid of the chaff, and all the important people lived.
And how many times
they weren't even in danger.
You saw Grey Worm actually get overrun. You saw, like, the Dothraki all die, but here comes Jorah just riding on back from it. Even Ghost comes back from it with missing an ear.
Oh, poor puppy.
Like, even Ghost lived. I'm like, holy shit, nobody dies.
Right.
There was no emotional stress in that whole episode. And Arya's weird, I'm hiding in the, what do you call it? I'm hiding in the library scene. I wasn't even remotely scared.
No, not at all.
And why was she scared?
Oh, when she ran away from everybody.
Yeah, and then that's the first time Melisandre told her, like, "Oh, you're gonna close a lot of blue eyes too."
Yeah, I think they were just putting on the like, remember how like she wanted to fight? She was talking to Gendry, and Gendry's like, "You haven't seen these before. I've seen these." Like, I think they're trying to like play off that, like, oh, now she really understands what they are. Like, I think that was the reason she was scared.
I don't think. I don't get me wrong. Arya is in fact a badass in every sense of the word, but this was not her. This wasn't her fight, man. No. This was John. This would be like me. This would be like you busting your ass to be like, I don't know, the greatest track star. Like, you're trying to run the 100-yard dash. You're trying to win the gold medal, man. And your little sister comes up and is like, I beat you.
It was a like, kill steal.
Fuck? I've been training for 15 years. I'm the fastest I've ever been in my life. Like, I got
it. It was the most epic kill steal. He cleared all the trash up to that boss, and she's like, punk, I did it.
Nerd, you fucking nerd. Yes, it was a total chaos. He called that mob.
That was his.
That was his experience, and he totally jacked it. By the way, does Arya get experience just for the Night King or for every single White Walker?
She drops after.
Did she get any fat loots?
Yeah, she probably got some fat loots. I don't know. Do the ice spears stick around? Did she claim one of them? Nerds.
But yeah, it
Game
was
of nerds.
So rushed. So yeah, we get the final battle. What did you like in that final? So we'll get to what we shit all over more. What did you like about the final?
Are you talking about the Battle of King's Landing?
The last episode, the end.
So wait, before we get there, she has to travel from the north to get there. And how does she do it? By boat. And somehow she fucking forgot that the biggest fleet in the history of Westeros, captained by the biggest Cthulhu psychopath, is out there. And they run fucking smack dab right into him, and they sink every one of her ships. Every one of her ships.
All of them.
With Unsullied on these ships.
That can't swim.
We saw the Dothraki get wiped out in Winterfell. Only like 6 of them came back. 6 crusty bitches and a guy with a beard. And like 1 horse maybe survived that fucking charge. So no more Dothraki. Probably a good thing for the Eastern continent. No more raids or raping.
I don't know though, because
good for them.
At the finale when she's
that's what I'm getting to. We saw the Dothraki die.
Literally
in a
snuffed
charge.
out.
There were like a handful of Dothraki. Then the Unsullied gets sunk in the middle of the fucking ocean, in the narrow sea. And while Euron's shooting fucking goddamn arrows and killing a dragon, apparently.
Issue.
Go, Andy, go. Issue, go.
Euron Greyjoy.
Yes.
Got some of the most undeserved moments in the final season for literally being thrown in at the tail end of this series. And he gets to kill a dragon, fuck the queen, and get into a battle with Jaime Lannister. Fuck off. You are a douchebag. Nobody likes you, and you get to do all of this. You prick.
Poor Euron.
I hate Euron. I hate Euron.
And I don't understand that. You're flying up in the clouds. You can see the entire water, and you don't notice the giant fleet of ships right over there.
There was a rock.
You didn't see Rhaegar like look over at Drogon like, I can fly again, bro. I can fly.
Right. It's like you didn't see the giant iron fleet just sitting there waiting. Come on.
It was nonsense. He got hit once. You think he's not going to like immediate evasive action?
Right.
No, he's like, oh, my chesticles.
I'm sorry. A moving target. I don't know how fast dragons fly. You know, they're cruising speed.
Pretty fucking fast,
cruising
man,
speed.
if they're diving.
Let's say they're going like 80 miles an hour cruising speed, right? Just like floating up there having fun, right?
Yeah.
You're telling me from like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 yards or more, you're going to...
That was more than 1,000
yards,
yards,
a good mile plus.
And through mist.
Right, yeah. You're going to hit
under mist.
A moving target on the first shot.
And multiple times after.
You know what's really fucked up? In the books, Euron only has one eye.
Right, he
Euron
does,
has a pirate patch in the books. So I'm thinking to myself, like, man, that would have been even harder if he had no depth perception.
Like, are you kidding
me? How the fuck did he do it?
Like, come on. Like, okay, I get it. You want to like even the odds a little bit?
I hated Euron. Absolutely hated Euron.
So yeah, I agree.
Undeserved.
That was a completely unearned win. You took out one of the most amazing parts that Jon had a dragon.
Right. Yeah.
Or at least he had one he was allowed to ride.
His dragon's
and now
gone.
you took that out of the equation.
Gone.
You could have had a Jon on dragon versus Dany on dragon fight at the finale. Or no, that you took that away from the fans. There are poor decisions being made here that you could have had the greatest ending in television, but you decided to cut your own feet out from under you halfway through your own season. It just so all the Unsullied gets, because once they drop one dragon, Dany hightails it on Drogon. She's like, oh God, you killed one of my dragons. Fuck this.
Even though we saw in the last episode, one dragon destroyed the entire Iron Fleet.
We're going to get to that too. Chronologically, keep it in time. Keep it in time here, Marty.
So she's traveling. They all sink her.
Right. They wash up on the shore.
They kill her dragon.
So then they start using the fucking scorpions. They take out all the boats. The Unsullied literally drown or end up on the beach.
And they did say half the Unsullied also died at Winterfell. Then we see half of them drowned in the ocean.
At least half.
It's half of a
and
half.
now, like,
and at the end of that episode, you see Dany standing outside the gates of King's Landing with what looks like one platoon of Unsullied. Like, it had to be like less than 100 guys, and her dragon off in the back. And that's when they cut off Missandei's head. Because Cersei's like, fuck you and your rabble of dickless jerk-offs. I don't even care anymore.
I saw the best meme, like one of the best ones, I don't know, when Missandei yells Dracarys. It said voice recognition not recognized back over Drogon's head.
no.
Oh, poor Drogon. He's just a big kitty cat. So at this point in time, it kind of looks like Dany's decimated. She's got nothing to offer. She's got no army. She's barely got no best friend.
Right.
And she's got 1 out of 3 dragons left. Jon shows up, and apparently, like, all those guys were like, bloop, respawn. We're back.
Yeah.
The Golden Company. Very important in the novels, actually. The Golden Company is okay. Oh God, for our friends out there that are in Bookland, the Golden Company was a sellsword mercenary army created by an offshoot of the Targaryens. Now, a bastard Targaryen by the name of Daemon Waters was recognized by Aegon the Unworthy, which is Aegon the Fourth. And he was recognized, and he took the name Blackfire, which is the name of the Valyrian steel sword the Targaryens used to have. It's gone. It's disappeared into time in memoriam. But he tried to do a rebellion. They're called the Blackfire Rebellions. There were 5 of them. All said and done, they escaped to Essos. They make the Golden Company, which is loyal to the Blackfire family and hates the Targaryens with a passion. None of that gets mentioned. That's called character development. George R.R. Martin understood that people need motives. Right. But apparently they don't have elephants, and they also don't have motives.
They had no motive to be there.
In the show, wasn't the Golden Army owned by the Iron Bank?
No, they're not owned by anyone. They're a mercenary army. Whoever pays them,
I thought it was
they
the
fight
Iron
for.
Bank once they went to them and they're like, hey, we need this army.
Cersei ransacked Highgarden and took all their gold. That was when they killed Olenna Tyrell. They paid off their debt to the Iron Bank. So everything that Robert had built up through drinking and fucking for his entire reign, the amount of money they owed the Iron Bank, they were like massively in debt. She paid them off. They were like, cool, now we're in good standing again. Would you like another loan? Like every fucking bank does. And then they're like, sure, I'll take another loan. Can I buy this thing called the Golden Company now? They're like, we'll finance that.
Sure. And for a part of me, I was like, hey, remember this cool character named Dario who she said to stay back and to make sure everything goes cool? I bet you he's going to be in the Golden Army. And when Cersei commands them to do something, they're going to be like, no, fuck you. What happens to the Golden Army? Drogon.
He Dario Naharis is a member of the Second Sons, which is a different
I just thought this would have been a cool way to bring him back.
Right.
I mean, she could have used their mercenary help, couldn't
because
she? Since they basically pledged fealty to her. He's back in Marine, running Marine. He's the king of Marine.
The king of Marine, but he
He's the king of Slaver's Bay.
It was just another one of those. Just all right, go over there.
What happens when he gets a fucking letter that says, by the way, that some dude that your ex-girlfriend was banging killed her? I'd be like, so angry. Not that mad. Fuck that bitch. Anyway. So yeah, you're right. So they show up, the final battle, like they're ready to just storm King's Landing. Everyone literally sits there with a thumb up their boo-boo while Drogon just strafe runs and just massively butt fucks every scorpion on that
They couldn't get one shot off.
Not
they did.
They
shot
shot
him twice when he first got to
the ships did.
Yeah.
The ships did.
Well, they didn't see him coming, apparently.
Every single turret along the city.
Apparently,
not one.
Apparently, they were all faced out this way. They didn't hear what was going on over there, so
they didn't hear a screaming dragon blowing fire down, destroying an entire fleet.
Like they were just
right behind them.
Fuck it, we're gonna stay out here.
They're one trump card. They're one thing to stop the dragons. and they failed miserably. And then they just stormed the gates, wrecked the place, and Danny's like, I'm holding back while you guys run through the streets. And they finally get to the actual gates of the Red Keep.
Yeah. And they ring the bells.
When they ring the bells means they'll open the gates and they'll surrender. And there was like 6 seasons ago during the Battle of Blackwater when the bells are ringing because, like, you know, Stannis' fleet is coming, and Davos Seaworth literally says, I don't know any time when bells meant they were giving up. Did you guys forget that, Double D?
They forgot. They said that before, and they say it again, and then
at least have Davos like recognize that. Like, I don't remember bells like being
right.
You know,
He could have been,
like
when Tyrion said that, Davos could have been like, "That's not what I heard."
Yeah,
I've heard different things. Like, but okay, cool. The bells ring, right? And the Lannister soldiers throw down their swords. Yep. The Jon and Grey Worm are sitting there like, we did it. We won. We took King's Landing. Now we walk up the Red Keep and we do it. And what does Dany do? She throws a fucking tantrum.
She does. She literally just gets pissed off.
Napes.
all because what the Double D said. She saw the Red Keep and she was like, now it's personal. Now.
Why wasn't it personal before?
Shit.
And it wasn't personal when your brother was offering you
that was
to a 40,000 army to get raped?
If that was the case, right? If that was the case, why did she not fly directly at the Red Keep?
That's what I thought she was doing at first.
Just burn down Cersei, everybody in the Red Keep, melt it down.
She saw the Red Keep and she started flying. I was like, I want to see Drogon grab Cersei out of the tower with his teeth and be like, this is your queen now, and just start eating and all this. I'm like, this is going to be cool. No, you start strafe running innocence. And what does Bran do during this? Watches it happen.
Brand's watching.
Warg into Drogon. This is going to be it. This is going to be your redeeming factor that you stop the murder of innocent people by taking on Drogon. Watches them burn.
Or he could have warged into Dany. He did it with Hodor. Like, you literally could have just, like, stopped them.
He also kind of made Hodor.
Well, yeah.
He kind of fucked
This is before that.
That was a dick
well, he
move.
did. He warged
Oops.
into him after he made him.
Why no Hodor during the Battle of Winterfell? No white Hodor? No zombie
Yeah,
Hodor?
none.
I was hoping because. So we all saw this coming, right? When they told everyone
they put him in the crypt.
Everybody go into the crypt. It's safe. Yeah, right. Because they're all dead. He's gonna raise the dead. They're all gonna come out of the crypt.
Headless Ned Stark.
See, I didn't think that was possible. I was of the impression that they might actually be safe down in the crypts because I thought that he could only raise the dead of people that they killed, not like just he can't just go to a graveyard and be like, you're all my bitches now.
I agree with you.
I didn't make any sense.
Right.
Like,
I agree
plus
with you.
The Winterfell is supposed to also have magic,
sacred ground
underneath it.
Yeah,
it is sacred ground, but in the books, it's theorized that there's magic underneath it, which is why it's like there must always be a Stark in Winterfell, and because it has some kind of wards against the dead. So, and plus those bones have been there a long time. There's no muscle left on those. They can't just move.
Yeah, they did.
No ligaments. Yeah, they just come out like.
But I just thought it'd be funny if like Headless Ned just comes out.
Well, the only thing that was recovered of Ned Stark was his head.
Well, his head starts talking.
It would have been like Joker teeth,
like Pac-Man coming out.
But
anyway, so where were we going with this?
So she burns them all while Bran watches.
Yeah.
And they destroy they wreck the fuck out of the Red Keep.
Oh yeah,
which was actually kind of cool. Like
it
watching
was.
it happen.
To say one thing that I liked, the Clegane Bowl.
Oh, Clegane Bowl was cool. It kind of sucks though because he literally shoved a sword in that guy's head and he lived. The Night King should have been there like taking notes. That's how you make White Walkers.
I did get one of my favorite death scenes during this.
He falls through a fucking wall into a fireball.
Qyburn.
Oh
my god!
When he's like, you listen to your queen, and he punches him, throws him, and when you see him hit the wall, you literally see the brains come out of the back of his skull, and then throws him again. And I was just like, fuck you. Yes.
That was pretty brutal,
he like grabs him by the face, just slams him
into
the wall.
Of course, it's the mountain that'll finally give us a cool scene here. Like, yes.
I did like the Clegane Bowl. I was kind of pissed off. Like it was a great cinematic. Again, you had like the fire, the dragon above him, and they're fighting on the staircase. Very cool.
Nothing that mattered. It was just brother versus brother.
Right. It was like nothing. We're just gonna beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
But the fact that he had to tackle him through a wall into a fire pit, like that's lame.
That sucks for the Hound too, man.
Dying
because
by
the whole thing
fire.
and reason he hates
Right.
his brother is because he pushed his
Right.
fucking face in some fire as a child, and that's how he ends up dying.
Right. Also, that's
With his brother into the fire.
a cop out.
He did push his brother into
Yeah.
some fire, which is kind of like
it was
poetic
cool.
justice.
See, I liked it.
I didn't like it. What I wanted to happen, which I thought was going to happen there for a second, when he did stab him in the face, I thought it was going to kill him. You know, I thought he was time in the face, disorient him, cut his head off, done, right? But he's going to be gravely wounded. I thought Arya was going to come back and be like, now I'll put you out of your misery. That's what I thought would be fun.
Nope, she left.
Stop giving Arya all these bullshit wins. She doesn't.
I know
deserve.
everybody's
he was
like,
on her-
Arya's going to kill Cersei. I was like, no, you only get one boss kill.
Yeah, that's true. You're out of the raid now. You already got your loot. Get the fuck
But
out
no,
of
can
here.
we talk about her
Stealer.
death? Because her death is bullshit.
All right, yeah, okay. So this is another big plot of the books and the show. The show mentioned this as well. It's called Maggie the Frog. Now, Maggie the Frog was a witch who lived in the woods outside of Casterly Rock. And when Cersei was a little girl, she went with her little handmaid out there, and she annoyed the fuck out of Maggie and demanded that she tell her fortune. So Maggie was like, sure, I've had enough of you. Because she threatened to have her, like, dad's hounds eat her.
Yeah.
If she didn't do it. And like, you're leaving on my dad's land. You'll do what I say or I'll have you killed. Maggie didn't take kindly to that. So she was more than happy to tell little Cersei about her future. And the three biggest things about this prophecy were, A, she would outlive all of her she would be queen someday. Because she would ask, like, well, she's like, I'm betrothed to the king, she was betrothed to Rhaegar Targaryen.
I thought she liked him. I didn't think she was betrothed to him.
She wanted to marry the Prince
Yeah.
Rhaegar. And it was said, you will be queen, but you will not marry the prince. Because she said, will I marry the prince? And she was like, yes, you'll be queen. You won't marry the prince. She was like, what does that mean? Well, it means that you're going to marry that fat bastard Robert Baratheon. Second thing, she's like, well, will I have lots of children? And he's like, you sure will. And you'll outlive every fucking one of them.
Yeah, because she says, like,
And she's like, oh, this really
you'll have
sucks.
3 kids, their head will be golden, and so will their veil, or whatever.
Yes, yeah. I'm not going to the poetry of it. Read the books, you fucking charlatans. The last and most important one is that she will meet her end. Oh, sorry. She will be replaced as queen by a younger, more beautiful queen. She thought that was Sansa, which is why she was giving her such a hard time. Turned out to be Marjorie Tyrell, and there ain't shit she was able to do about that. The last one, and the one that was actually left out of the show, but which is the most fucking important of all of the prophecies, is that she will meet her death at the hands of the Valonqar. And Valonqar, oh God, I'm a nerd. High Valyrian, it means the younger brother.
There's some
younger
dispute
brother.
about that too. It means the younger sibling.
There's only two. It means it is younger brother. The gender, the prince who was promised is the gender flippant.
Well, and that's
prophecy.
this is
It
what I
could have
read
been prince
too.
or
It was actually it
princess.
could be mean younger sibling, which that they could flip on to Dany killing her because she is a younger sibling of a whatever. But anyway, yeah, go on.
Not her
That was.
sibling.
I mean, I've heard of that theory. It was. It was
never
fan
said it
theory.
was like her sibling. It was just like the brother. It could be anybody.
It's the young. It specifically says the younger sibling is the Valonqar, but it meant her younger sibling, and she immediately thought, oh, they're talking about Tyrion. Well, she came out of that her mom before Jaime too. So everyone for a long time was like, oh, maybe Tyrion will actually get like a twofer out of his family, kill Tywin and Cersei. The poetry of it would have been that Jaime was finally done with her shit and fucking became the Queen Slayer. Right. We were all hoping Jaime was going to be the Queen Slayer and do the right thing the same way he did for the Mad King and put a sword through his sister's back when she's like, burn them all. Did that happen? No. What we got was them holding each other. Excuse me. Well, she was holding one of his hands, at least, in the fucking basement of the Red Keep, and they died to a cave-in.
That was the most unearned death for her.
For me, yeah, exactly. That's what my thought was. You didn't earn to die with your person you loved holding each other. You didn't earn that shit. You deserve to be ripped apart by zombies or something. I don't give a fuck.
When Jaime left Winterfell and broke Brienne's heart, who, holy shit, you have the ugliest cry face I've ever seen of anyone.
You leave Gwendolyn.
It happens.
Terrible cry face. They built that up. I was like, yes, this is what we're finally. He's going to go back. Like, he's leaving her to not go be with Cersei.
Right.
He's going to go end Cersei.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, because she just sent Bronn to kill him and Tyrion.
Why do you go and hug somebody that sent an assassin after you?
Yeah, she literally was just told, like, she didn't just want Tyrion dead. She wants
said, kill
both of
them
you
both.
dead. That's a huge betrayal.
Yeah.
He's gotten her back at every
bullshit.
awful fucking thing she's ever done. And here he is being told to his face, I have been hired to murder you. I'm going to let you go. Do something about your crazy bitch sister.
Right.
And he goes and saves the bitch.
He tries to.
Well, he kind of tries to. Tyrion does man, and you got to love Tyrion. For a guy who was like super cynical, believed in jack shit, hated the world, pissed off the edge of the wall, he was a sure-hearted... man, naive ass believer at the end of the days, wasn't he?
Was. And I love that line from Sansa. There was some good lines in here when Tyrion told her before the whole battle of Winterfell, like, Cersei said she's sending her people. They're coming. And she goes, I used to think you were the most clever man in the world. Like, you're not. If you believe that, you're fucking dumb.
Well, they kind of made him dumb this season, too.
That's the thing. It's not Tyrion. Like, this series, like... this season took all these great characters and completely flipped their characters on
They made
the coin.
Tyrion
Made
he didn't
Jon
know
dumb.
what he was doing the entire time, when normally he always knows what he's doing.
Jon becomes a lovesick puppy, which is like which he learned totally to kill that part of himself after Ygritte died. Fucking Tyrion becomes just moron king.
Right.
Daenerys becomes psycho hoe, and when she was like the liberator of chains and the breaker, she was the biggest badass in the show. Yep. She was so awesome, and she was totally you were rooting for. And overnight, she's like, I hate everybody.
Yeah, she was like, you won't reciprocate my love, so fear it is. I'm just going to strike fear into everyone, all because she didn't get boned.
Like, for God's sakes,
right?
You're his aunt. He's obviously got some emotional qualms about already banging his aunt.
Right.
And then doing it again while the dragon watched. At some point in time, Jon was probably like crying gaming in the fucking Winterfell bathroom. it's like oh God, she gave me birthday cards. Like, no. And she's sitting like, why won't you bang me? Like, I'm not a hillbilly. We're not in fucking Westeros, Arkansas. Sorry for any of our listeners from Arkansas. You're all some cousins. Anyway.
Sorry, not.
And then you had the most unneeded battle between Greyjoy and Jaime.
Oh, Euron and Jaime's fight, which was so not needed, so not earned.
First of all, how did Euron survive Dragonfire ship blowing up, him flying off of it?
He jumped off.
He did.
When Drogon started to strafe,
that
he just jumped off.
You're just not going to get hit by anything.
He pulled a thing.
He bitched out.
He did. He bitched out.
And
hard.
then he shows up and just like
one
at the
stab
right
in on
moment
Jaime
that
Lannister.
Jaime shows up.
And I get it. Euron was
Yeah.
supposed to be like a badass sailor. You're telling me that he was going to go toe-to-toe in a sword fight with Jaime Lannister.
One-handed
Jaime.
Even
Lannister.
one-handed, they made
Jaime.
sure to hammer home, he is still good. He is better than Euron Greyjoy is what I'm getting at.
He actually wasn't that good. Bronn flat out said, you're kind of shit.
Because Bronn
Like,
said
he
you
flat
could
out
Well,
told
Bronn
me
is
you
no
couldn't.
slouch.
Yeah, but if Bronn says you're shitty at sword fighting, you're shitty at sword fighting. And let's be honest here. Jaime Lannister had a huge opportunity to make lemonade out of this lemon of a fucking hand. What did he do? He got his fucking fighting hand chopped off. Sucks. Learn to fight left-handed as best you can. But now you've got like pimp hand, right?
Yeah.
No. He should. If you can take ice and reforge 2 Valyrian swords out of a greatsword, then you can gather up some extra Valyrian steel and make yourself a Valyrian lion's claw.
Yeah, some sort of weapon.
Or a punching hand. Or a fucking hidden blade that comes out. Like, do something kind of not honorable. I don't know. Do something cool with that fucking hand. No. What do you do? Like, you got your parade wave. I'm such a pretty Jaime Lannister. Look at me go. What a waste. And he chose gold. I get it. Your family's rich, Jaime. But gold is one of the most pliable fucking metals in the history of the fucking periodic table. You ever heard of steel, bitch? It's light and it's strong. Fuck off. Mistakes were made. Euron didn't earn that fucking win. Jaime didn't earn to even live through that fight.
I don't know how he did. He got stabbed like 3 times in the abdomen.
With a dirk that was like a good foot long at least.
And he just walks away.
He literally says, I fucked your sister.
Yeah.
And I know that makes you sad because you fuck your sister. And Jaime didn't even bat an eyelash at that. So now Jaime's been told that Cersei has sent a killer to kill him. She fucked gross pirate guy. And she's been drinking the whole time that she's been pregnant with their gross hillbilly baby. So I don't know about you guys, but that's a trinity to kill my sister. that's a whole plethora of reasons.
The
there that
assassin
bitch
alone
deserves
should
a
have been
sword.
enough.
That should have been enough, but apparently it wasn't. Totally forgave her.
Fucking
Let's try to escape. You have created foreshadowing in your narrative that Jaime will kill this character because it's the right thing to do. It's a redemption arc.
Right.
It's Jaime's heroic arc. You have robbed that character of that, and you have robbed the fans of a good story.
Right.
You Dextered me, motherfuckers. I don't want to be Dextered. I already got Dextered by
You
Dexter.
had me in a boat with my dead sister in the boat driving into a hurricane to go live on the beach.
And I ended up a fucking lumberjack with a crappy beard. Like, that's what you did to us. You ruined this character. Like, Jaime was one of the best characters in the show.
Yeah.
So
You
You
cared
started
about what was going to
hating-
happen to him.
Pushed a child. Apparently, he tried to go Kingslayer 2.0. Pushed a child out of a window to save his relationship with his sister. To
Gross.
this close to redemption, that close.
to like,
And then
leaving
you're
his
just like,
sister.
And he like made Brienne of Tarth's dream come true.
Yes.
Not only is she a knight now because of him, but she lost her V card to the goddamn Kingslayer. He is the Queen Slayer. I don't know. He's a Night Slayer at least.
Right.
He's a Hyman Slayer.
Literally, this season they ruined every great character.
It's
John-
and the worst part is, it wasn't like a shitty death. It wasn't like, oh, he just died for no reason. It was he died without fulfilling
Right.
his goal. Like what would have made him a great. You know what? I don't even care. You want to keep Jaime the villain? He tries to take the fucking Iron Throne for himself, or betrays Daenerys and Jon. Do it. But Cersei needed to die at his hand, or Tyrion's.
She did
Not
not
to
need
a
to die
fucking
in a
wall.
pacifist way. Like, she should have died in some major, gruesome, fuck you, you bitch way.
It's like when the Russians and the Allies stormed Berlin at the end of World War II, and we're like marching, and we're gonna kick their asses. We finally won World War II, and Hitler decides to shoot himself in the fucking basement, and we don't even get to put him on trial. It's just not a good feeling. Go, yes, Andy.
Another death that I thought was going to happen. You had mentioned that we saw the Dothraki, the Unsullied, all of them decimated. So after Daenerys finally uses Drogon to just take what is hers, and she comes out, and there is a massive army of Unsullied, a whole horde of Dothraki. Who knows where they got all these? And while she's standing there, you slowly see Tyrion walking up behind her, and I was like, he's going to be the next Lannister that stabs a Targaryen in the back. And he doesn't
been
do
cool.
it. I'm like, come on.
I didn't mind that. I knew
Tyrion.
he wouldn't do it.
I mean, considering all that Tyrion had done to, like, he believed
Yeah.
in her,
Yeah.
man. He basically sacrificed his cynicism for her. That's a big
And
deal
that's
for a cynic,
for
man.
him to finally see, like, you are no longer what you said you were. So I wanted to see him be the one to kill her.
It would have been cool.
Yeah.
Tyrion, Kingslayer, Queenslayer.
Yes.
That would have been amazeballs. The Lannister boys
Yes.
killing monarchs.
He's just not a. He's just
Need a
not
monarch
killer.
killed? Call Lannister.
He hasn't been a killer since
Nope.
the Blackwater. Like, he's not a killer.
Which
I mean, he
would
barely
have
killed anyone
made it
there.
even more.
I wouldn't have seen his arc going that way. It would have made sense to me. That's just me.
I mean, I could have seen it. It would have been better than.
I agree.
Don't
It
know.
would have been better than what we got.
So yeah, they've won, and everyone who okay, and this goes out to everybody who thought that the shit on the fucking King's Landing was ashes. It was snow.
Yeah, that's what
Winter
I thought.
was
it was
there.
all snow.
Because I saw
Nobody thought it was
Drogon like fly
ashes.
away, and it was still like snowing in the water. I'm like, well, yeah, it's snow then.
I get Kit Harington's in the show, but it ain't Pompeii, kids. Okay, this was snow. It was winter. It all harkens back to her vision she had when she was with the Dothraki, or sorry, the Warlocks of Karth.
Yeah.
She was there, and it was all wrecked. It's visions came true. Good job, Daenerys. Fucking somehow she had a full fucking army again.
Yeah, and that's
we talked about that. She imprisons Tyrion for releasing her brother. First of all, who the fuck ratted
Right, who's
Tyrion
home?
out? What a dick! You
Hey,
tattletale son of a bitch.
Probably the guards that
Unsullied.
he said, hey,
they wouldn't tell. They probably
Go away.
He's the freaking hand. Like, what they gonna do? Oh, telling you.
Well, yeah, she's the one. Like,
she
where
probably was
is
like,
he?
how the fuck did the Kingslayer escape? And they were probably like, I don't speak. I don't fucking speak Valyrian. But they were probably like, oh, the half man came and told us to leave, and then Kingslayer wasn't there anymore. Like, Tyrion, how dare you?
Whatever. Anyway.
Well, he did her a fucking favor because obviously he's dead, and he should have been like, well, before you get mad, let me go show you his body.
We're not dead.
Yeah.
So
they made a point to show us Tyrion confirming the kill. We saw their corpses. There is no chance that Cersei and Jaime lived. He literally unburied
if you saw
them.
that scene, if they had moved about 20 feet to the right, they would have lived.
Yeah, all that clearing right there.
Yeah, like
it kind of did look from like when the actual scene of it happening, like
it looked like the whole thing
was
fell.
down.
But when
Yeah.
when Tyrion got
But then
there, it was
Tyrion's
like
just walking
this
right
whole
through
space.
He did. He just kind of walked over. Was like, "Oh man, if you guys had just stepped
Right.
to the left, you would have been fine." That sucks for that. No, it doesn't. Fuck those guys. Anyway, Tyrion gets thrown in a fucking cell, as opposed to just being like killed right then and there by one of her 100,000 Unsullied
Or
that
Drogon.
respawned. That scene of her walking with Drogon, like
That was
raising his
sweet.
wings behind her. Yeah, that was cool.
I loved her outfit
Thanks.
too.
Super
That
cool.
all black leather with the 3-headed dragon chain coming across. I was like, that's badass.
Yeah, she take that step forward, and then you just see the wings like fly out. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
with her giant
she's become everything she
Targaryen
hates.
banner on the
Yeah.
Red Keep, and then Drogon just landing on the rubble of what's left.
Or I did.
Tyrion begs Jon to kill her. Tells him, you're Aegon Targaryen, sixth of his name. You're the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. I don't want it. She's all queen. I love her. Like, are you fucking serious, dude? Look what she just did. You're a threat to her. She's going to kill you too, Jon. So, what does Jon do, Andy?
Stabs her right in the gut.
Kisses her. And then
well,
stabs
he
her
asked
in
her.
the
He
fucking
was
heart.
like, "Stop doing this. Show mercy." And she was like, "We wipe out everyone, then show mercy." And he's like,
yeah,
"What?"
that's
Well,
not how
no.
that works.
And then he goes, "Well, what about all the lords and all the lands out there? What if they have different opinions on what we should do or what should be done?" And she goes, "They don't get a choice."
They don't get to decide.
And I could see right there, he was like, "All right, you cray."
She made it abundantly clear that the power had totally gone to her head.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm going to liberate everybody. Like, not technically everyone is in chains.
Right.
Like, you're getting a little social justice warrior there, Daenerys. You think everyone's like a slave and you just want to be in charge, okay? We get
I
it.
did like when Jon was walking up and the dragon like shook all the snow off.
It was pretty sweet looking.
Like
that actually for a minute there, I was like, is Drogon going to be like, you don't get to go see mommy.
No.
That's my mommy. You don't go near my mommy. But he looked at him, he took one whiff and was
yeah,
like,
No, you're cool. You're cool.
Proceed.
You're Targaryen. Apparently, that's the
Yeah,
only
he
reason
smells
why
that dragon blood.
we had to know he was Targaryen, so he could walk past the dragon. Jesus.
He puts a fucking sword in. Oh, no, it's not like he actually leaves this Valyrian steel sword behind. It's his
it's
dagger.
just like his parrying dagger.
His short sword, whatever you want to call it. He
His
fucking
semi.
stuffs.
He poked her with his semi.
he stuffs it right in her heart. And at this point in time, I'm like, that's not Longclaw. If he pulls that thing out and it bursts into flames, I'm going to be pissed. This is not how you do a prophecy. That didn't happen. That didn't happen at
left
all.
it
So
in
she's sitting there dying. He's like, I told you, I loved you, but this so exposed, blah, 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 whatever, I'm Irish. Anyway, so then Drogon shows up, right? Because he somehow magically senses that mommy's been stabbed, sniffs her, smells the dagger that's still in her body, takes one look at Jon, and melts the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
Doesn't even think about hurting Jon. Just like, ooh, you killed my mommy. I'm so mad. Well, if she can't have the throne, well, no one can.
Well, he can't really hurt Jon with fire.
Why the fuck not? What? No. Jon is not immune to fire. Not all Targaryens are magically immune to fire. Do you remember in the season when he was at the Night's Watch and the White attacked Jorah Mormont and he grabbed the fucking lantern and threw it on the White and burned it? Remember how badly Jon's hand was burned after he did that shit? Well, I fucking do.
Happened.
And you're lucky I do. So Jon is not immune to fire, as like some Targaryens are. That is a Daenerys, and some Targaryens have displayed this ability, but not all Targaryens are magically immune to fire. Otherwise, then when they fight each other with dragons in civil wars, there'd be no point.
Well, or maybe this Drogon was like, I can't kill you. You're my master kind of thing. You know how Targaryens are kind of like, I don't know.
I think Andy and I had a side conversation about this. Like, if he kills Daenerys, what does Drogon do? Does Drogon accept Jon as his master? Or does Drogon say, fuck this, I'm going to kill you? He did neither.
And I thought that Jon was going to kill Drogon to be like, look, everyone, I know this was the weapon of mass destruction that's just killed you. I'm going to end this. And kill Drogon. Nope. Drogon picks up Daenerys and leaves. He's like,
leaves. He just
hey,
goes,
bro,
now I must
I'm
go.
going to hide the body. I got you.
So after he did that, I was like, okay, so they won't really know he did it then. Nope, they definitely knew he did it.
So the fucked up part about this is like, this is out of character for a dragon. Right. Like, you know that. Like, look, man, I'm pretty sure if somebody comes into my house and stabs me, my dog is going to attack the person who
not
just
bury
stabbed
you.
me. Not be like, oh, that sucks. Get all of his shit. I'm going to bury my dad in the backyard. That's not how that works. And if Ludo did that to me, I'd disown him, even though I'd be dead. But it's not the point.
We did have like a little Simba Mufasa moment.
Mufasa.
When he like nudged her,
oh yeah,
Dad,
hey,
Dad, are you okay?
Like, get up, Mom? Get up.
He did, like, and part of me would have been like, if I were Jon, I would have been like, you serve me now. Yeah. Maybe. Please don't burn me alive.
Is that how this works?
No.
Him melting the Iron Throne was cool. However, I thought it was going to happen in a different way with either Cersei sitting on it or like another reason for him to do it. Not him throwing a fit of my mommy's dead, so I'm just going to burn the nearest thing to me. That's not Jon.
What did he do with her body?
Who, Drogon?
Oh, did everyone just go, get your minds out of the gutter, all of you?
What?
Oh, wait, is that just my mind? Oh,
I was like, I just picked her up and left.
You like grabbed her and left.
Do you think he ate her?
And they even mentioned later on, like, where did Drogon go? Oh, we saw him flying east, and Bran's like, I'll find him. Oh, you mean you're going to warg into him now?
Oh, now you will.
Off screen after everything's done. You dumb fuck.
You useless bastard.
It's so stupid.
Speaking of, while you're all sitting around trying to figure out who King is, you got 2 plastic water bottles down at your feet. Way to go, production crew.
God, the coffee
again.
cup too, man. It just feels late. To me, it feels just
so
lazy
rushed
and disingenuous.
And
okay, so Drogon's gone, right? And Jon's got like no Daenerys. There's just a little blood on the floor. He couldn't have been like, dude, you have no idea what I just saw. Drogon totes ate Daenerys and then flew away. It's so fucked up. Can I be king now?
Like, yeah, I was gonna say, like, how they figure out it was him? Did he admit it to it?
Yeah.
Like, I did it.
Yeah, it's Jon. He's not gonna lie.
Fucking Jon. Jon's a Ned Stark at heart. I did it. I couldn't help myself. I'm so troubled. I'm gonna cut myself to feel things.
Jesus.
Fuck off. Like, this whole thing is stupid. So now Jon's in jail. Nobody decided to kill him immediately. Typically, assassins don't survive to get to trial. Right. But apparently in Westeros, man, you just can't help but have an assassin trial. Tyrion's assassin trial. Tyrion's had 2 assassin trials for killing a monarch.
And, like,
oh, God.
All of a sudden, Greyjoy is, like, in charge.
Oh, don't even get me started, man. So they have the fucking, like, council.
You said Greyjoy.
Sorry.
Reverend Lovejoy.
I know who you're talking. I know who you meant. You
meant
Grey Worm.
Sorry.
I get it. They have the trial of Tyrion. Jon's not even there because Jon's in a cell somewhere. Yeah. So, and they have you have 4 people that matter and a couple of no names. Literally, they don't even mention who they are. Edmure Tully stands up. I was like, I would be king. Sansa's like, sit the fuck down.
I love that it was Sansa. She was like, sit down. Take
Uncle
a seat.
Red Wedding much? Get the hell. You sit the fuck down right now. You're not. There's no way Edmure Tully's walking away as the monarch of Westeros. Right. And then you saw like a grown-up Robin Aaron.
Yes,
that
weird,
creepy little kid. And then a couple people no clue who they were. And Yara Greyjoy looking super not happy that her piece got murdered by Jon Snow. I took back the Iron Islands for her. I swore fealty to her. Like, if you had seen what she did at King's Landing, you wouldn't have been on her side. But you weren't here. What were you doing? You were on a fucking cruise.
I did you a favor.
All right. So this is where I literally my wife and my daughter are like sleeping like 2 feet away from me, and I literally shouted, "What the fuck!" at like the top of my lungs, because in no logical situation does a foreign invading army with no leader tell a fucking country that they are in who they put to death. Here's Grey Worm with fucking Tyrion telling them to pick a king to take over Westeros so that they can put Tyrion and Jon to death or they won't leave. I'm like, bitch, there's an army of Northmen inside King's Landing pissed off you just put their king in chains. Right. 2, you're not home right now. And 3, the only bargaining chip you had just got a sword through her chest and got taken away by her fucking dog.
And you don't have dragons anymore.
You're fucked. You are so fucked, Unsullied. You don't even have a dick to swing at this point. Metaphorically and literally. You are screwed. But what do? They cowtail to the Unsullied. Sure. Yeah, you're right. You guys are right. Jon Snow, he'll go to the wall. And Tyrion, you're a hand now. And the king is the kid who literally just said he's not even a person anymore.
And
Bran has said multiple times, I'm not Bran Stark. We'll make him
And then
king.
Tyrion was like, Bran has the best story of all. No, he doesn't.
Dude wasn't even in an entire season. Season 5.
Whole season.
No Bran at all. Make him king.
Like, Jaime, a better story. Cersei, a better story.
If Cersei had won, I would have been like, cool.
Tyrion, a better story. Sansa, a better story. Arya, a better story. Like,
I don't understand why Bran is even on the list. He's admitted he's not Bran Stark anymore. He's like a mixture and amalgamation of the Three-Eyed Raven and Bran, and he's really just a collection of memories. He's a fucking database at this point.
He's a hard drive.
He turned down being Lord of Winterfell, and now you're like, oh, fuck it, I'll be king.
This is why I came down here. Like, what?
Yeah. He saw this all
is why
along.
you traveled?
So when she was burning all the innocent people, he was just sitting there going, excellent.
Excellent. I'll be king.
It is all going as I have foreseen.
For a moment, I was about to get real pissed when they were about to introduce democracy. And I was like, really? Really?
I mean, of course, Samwell Tarly's the one who's like, let's let the people vote. And they're like, we'll let our horse have a vote too while we're at
I thought they were serious for a second. I was like, no.
I mean, democracy wouldn't have been a terrible idea, but in a world like Westeros, it doesn't make sense. So what they did was a constitutional oligarchy. Ugh. Disgusting politics. So basically what you've done is you've instituted a puppet king, a puppet monarch that has no opinions on anything because he's not really a person anymore. Tyrion, in effect, being named Hand by Bran, is actually in charge.
And kudos and thanks for Sansa for announcing that Bran's dick doesn't work.
Oh, yeah. He can't have fucking kids.
So hey,
you can't have an heir.
Yeah, your sister's like, hey, you can't fuck.
Dude can't fuck.
He can't father children, which is the whole point of a monarchy. Right. The way you avoid war is that there's no debate over who the next king is.
And I want to see
because
how
it's your oldest child.
How good they get along when it is time for them to come together and pick the next king. Be like, I think it should be this person. I think it should be this person. I think it should be this person. War!
There are 3 or 4 people sitting at that fucking council who all knew Jon's true identity. Right. No one said shit.
None of them. They're like, send him to the wall. Okay.
You tell me Sansa will tell Tyrion on a whim just to fuck over Daenerys Stormborn, and now that Daenerys is fucked, she's not going to follow through? Like, you're obviously getting Winterfell, bitch. Like, don't screw this. You can be like, pardon me, the guy in the cell, he's actually the son of Rhaegar Targaryen. He's actually the rightful king. So we did it, everybody.
Nope.
He's like, and then they're like, well, he doesn't want to be. Well, it doesn't really matter what he wants.
He is.
And she said, we're not bending the knee, even you, Bran.
That was funny.
So he's like, cool, you could be independent then. All the other 6 realms, fuck you guys, you got to stay though.
Right.
It's reversed now because when Aegon the Conqueror, the first Targaryen who landed in Westeros 400 or 500 years before these events, Dorne was the 7th kingdom that was like impossible to conquer. They got everybody else. The north was like the very end, and then Dorne was, because it's a desert, was impossible for them to breach with dragons. Now it's opposite. All of the other kingdoms are the 6 kingdoms, and the north is the fucking outlier, the independent nation. So okay, cool. So history's fucking repeating itself, basically.
Right. And everyone else is cool with it. No one said a thing. They're
Nobody.
Like, oh, okay.
Like the north could be free.
Is King's Landing wheelchair accessible? Is the Iron Throne technically under Bran's ass all the time?
It's not there
now?
anymore, so.
I was making, never mind. I was making a fucking joke. Those wheels have iron in them. Anyway, I feel like a lot of people are mad about this show because it didn't end the way they wanted. Like, you're right. In some cases, that's probably true. Some people had like bets going, or they had like a horse they were really betting on, and they were really disappointed that didn't happen. I'm upset because the choices they made don't make fucking sense from a narrative perspective. I don't care who ends up on the Iron Throne. To be frank, I don't think Jon Snow was going to end up on the Iron Throne. He never really wanted it. And it makes sense for him to be the 1,000th Lord. When he was originally voted in, he was the 998th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Dolorous Ed was 999. Ed died at Winterfell. It makes sense for Jon to come back and be number 1,000. Woo, you winner! We're throwing a party.
But then he went north of the wall, so now he's like the king north of the wall.
I thought
he's not a king.
I thought he, like you were saying, he didn't want it, and everyone's assumption was he was going to end up being that anyways. And I thought the entire time they kept building up Sansa as this leader, and everyone started to respect her, that he was going to be like, "I don't want this. She's your queen." And they're like, "Nah, give it to the cripple."
I mean, I don't really care who sits on the Iron Throne. I knew it wasn't going to be Daenerys because you knew she was going to die at some point for the shit she was doing. And Jon, as much as you want him, okay, perfect happy fairy tale ending is Jon and Daenerys getting married and ignoring the fact that they're fucking blood related and having lots of little babies and ruling the fucking seven kingdoms as equals. That's not a George R.R. Martin ending. That's not happening. If you thought that was going to happen, surprise, you don't know how to read. At this point in time, what we got was a bigger slap in the face because it's George R.R. Martin basically saying, like, literally no one is on the throne. And then they talk about
that doesn't
fucking
want
reopening whorehouses and building
and
boats.
a hand that doesn't want to be the hand.
Yeah,
The king doesn't want to be king.
Like,
the hand doesn't want to be
this.
the hand.
I do want to hear the end of his joke, though.
Oh, I walk into a brothel with a honeycomb and a jackass. I want to hear the punchline too.
Like, you end the show, I want to know what was it?
He tried to tell that joke like 3 times throughout the entire show, and we never get to hear the punchline.
There was
Closest
one.
he came was like in
now
Marine.
that we're just talking about like the wrapping up and the time, one death that I was like, dude went out and the dude did every single thing that he said. His story never changed. His arc never, and that was Varys.
Oh,
Varys was like,
Varys held
she's
true
crazy.
To the end, man.
She's going to snap. She's not the right for the queen, and you all know this. And he died for being truthful.
You know what's fucked up though? And during that scene of that episode, he's writing ravens.
Multiple
he's writing
letters. Yeah. Where did they go?
The same thing that Ned Stark did. The same thing that Ned Stark did when Joffrey and the other bastard Lannister kids were discovered. You're telling me that nobody got a letter that day? Somebody out there got a raven from Varys that says Jon Snow is the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Somebody out, that is now public fucking knowledge. Nobody fought for that. Nobody says 2 words. This is the problem that people had with the finale. There are 587,000 fucking plot lines that had no ending. They were just forgotten. They were dropped on the floor because you wanted to save your fucking season money from season 8 and cut out 4 episodes so that you could make Star Wars movies. You think we don't see through the lies of the Jedi, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff?
We'll see what they do with no source material.
Right.
None.
Again,
we'll
This
see.
will be interesting.
Well, there is source material.
They're just going to copy.
There is source material.
It's not confirmed.
Yeah, they're
they're
going to copy a bunch of comic books and act like look how smart we are. You write your own fucking story. That's such a dick thing to say to your fan base that you basically betrayed. And George R.R. Martin has flat out said his books will not be ending the same way. He said in some cases, yes.
Yeah, he was like, yes,
no,
yes, no, yes.
Which tells me that there are plot elements that are correct, but they're in the wrong order. He's going to do this
Danny
in the correct
will snap,
order.
Danny will get killed, but Lightbringer obviously will come into it.
He'll basically realize he is the fucking chosen one, and then he'll give that up too. After he fulfills his goal of destroying White Walkers and saving humanity, he's going to walk away, and that's fine. That's what a hero does. Jon's a real hero. He's not in it for the reward. I'm cool with that ending. I get that. That fulfills his character arc. But Daenerys was handled poor. Literally, almost every other character was handled poorly. And you got to understand, people have been devoted to this show for like a better part of a decade.
Yeah.
This was a fucking... Okay, so now, let's wrap up our show. We've decided that this Complicity series was a complete waste of our fucking time. I want my life back. But let's end it up, and let's go around the table and talk about other shows that had really shitty finales. Andy, go. Name one. You get to name one.
One?
Yeah, we've probably talked about a few of them. You can rename
Yeah,
them. That's
Lost.
fine.
Lost it comes to mind.
Lost. They're all in purgatory in a church. That was a shitty fucking ending. Sweeney, go.
Dexter. I was so disappointed.
Dexter was dog
so
shit.
disappointed.
Terrible. Firefly. Awful.
What was
fucking
the
season.
show where he wakes up and it was all a dream? Dallas.
Oh, God. Who shot JR?
It was all a dream. That's what I hope Game of Thrones. Wait. That was just a dream.
Fucking Patrick fucking Duffy in the shower.
Patrick Duffy's leg.
Patrick Duffy. Yeah, Dallas was trash. All right. Anyone, can we think of any more? There's got to be a couple more. Terrible fucking
Sopranos.
shows. Sorry.
Just cut to black.
They just went to
Sopranos.
black.
Yes. It went to black during the fucking don't stop believing. His whole family dies while Tony's having a fucking vagabagool.
Good endings.
Greatest finale of all time.
Cheers.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking
was
Bad.
good.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Recs, and that last season felt tacked
No,
on.
that ending though, where she went around and got everyone like the perfect ending for them, for each person.
Oh, I guess you're right. And then they have like the festival.
And she got Ron like the job to be like the pretty much the guy that oversaw the entire like state parks there, so he got to just like go be in the wilderness.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, and then they did the bye little Sebastian. Yeah, okay, cool. Parks and Rec was a good one. Trying to think of some others.
Friends is pretty good.
Shitty. Oh,
Shitty.
back to Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
They all go to jail.
Seinfeld. They're all in a fucking public jail, and everyone they ever offended was the witness against them. Awful. Terrible bad. Oh, man. See, this is the problem. Like, you do a show for too long. You either see yourself become the villain or you die the hero, right?
And that is the sad part, because it is. So from season 1 to season 7, all of us could not wait until Sunday. We couldn't, like, it was so good. Like, their bad episodes were still so good.
It's so true. Some of their shitty episodes were still better than some of like the word.
And then
they were
season
great.
8, it was just, all right, we're starting off good, a little fast. Okay, all right. What? Fuck.
What? No.
Wait.
We shouldn't be watching our shows when Peter's doing his shenanigans.
I literally had the balls to say that George R.R. Martin was an American Tolkien. And for a while, I kind of felt that way. Now I'm like, dude, why did you let them
And that's the
destroy your
issue I have
child
too.
in front of
He
you?
has say in this. It's not like they just never went to him or asked him for it. He has some say. This is on your hands too.
Maybe he's like banking on like, now that you guys hated the show,
Right.
you're going to really see how I ended the books. And he's going to sell these books are going to sell through the fucking roof.
He sabotaged it on purpose.
If he ever finishes
Fucking Gordon Fisherman's gonna die before we get the end of those.
Dude, we need to send a petition. We need
Let's
to make a
make our
petition
own
to Red Lobster. Our petition needs to go to Red Lobster to stop doing Crab Fest or Lobster Fest so that George can finish the fucking novel. You're killing me, George, man. Just get it done, dude. Okay, so after 10 years, 8 seasons, did this show meet your expectations? Do you feel like it kind of went where you thought it was going to go?
It's very
Do you
hard
feel
not to let the season finale change how I feel about the show in its entirety, but it does. Because now if you ever want to go back and restart it all and start it from the beginning, while you're watching it, you know where it's going, and you know, like, do I want to sit here and watch all this again knowing how it ends?
This is why I've never done a rewatch of Dexter.
Yeah.
I just can't.
And plus, you're
I
gonna
know
like
what-
watch things, and you're gonna see them happen, and be like, oh, and they don't touch on that. Oh, and they don't do anything about that.
Yeah, man. It's just gonna become tainted, and Andy said it right. It's just gonna be, it's gonna have a stigma on it now. And I feel like a lot of people out there are trying to apologize, or they're saying like it wasn't that bad. Everyone's just a bunch of entitled crybabies. Blah blah blah. Like, I'm glad you liked it. If you liked what you saw this season, I'm happy for you. I actually know how to read, and I was expecting a grand fantasy quest finale, and
it was a letdown.
If you knew anything about these characters, if you loved these characters, you want more for these characters. And that's kind of the cool thing about pop culture is we grow up with these fantastic heroes and legends and villains and you want to see how their stories, because in some way they reflect our lives or how we feel about the world around us. So when you see them handled so not delicately, you see them handled with such disrespect. Like, there's no... And don't get me wrong, I love the Red Wedding. The Red Wedding completely turned it. Like, Ned Stark losing his head. These are good twists.
Right.
These are good... nobody's saying, the good guys need to win and the bad guys need to lose. We just want them to have we want their journeys to have meaning. That's the point of these fucking movies and these shows and these books and these comics and this shit that we... let obsess our lives, basically.
I mean,
and as a fan, I feel that a lot of people have a right to be very pissed off. Do they have a right to make a petition to remake that season? No. That's outside. You have to. We all have to come to terms inside. This is what you get,
and you have to accept their writing, but good or bad, that's their vision of whatever the show was. I just, like you said, I just wish these characters would have ended the proper way, because now it feels unfulfilling. It feels like I watched the cheap spin-off to a good series at one point.
It's heartbreaking that we're sitting here having this conversation at the end of Game of Thrones, whereas before, when we talked about Game of Thrones, it was just joy, excitement, like, oh my god, they did this, or oh, I can't wait to see this. And now that it's over, we're sitting here going, fuck. You fucked it up.
Meh. Andy said at the beginning of the episode, meh.
You took my
I hate to be
favorite
crass,
show.
But I didn't come. I don't want to be. Gotta be crass about it. I didn't finish.
Right.
Put them out at Cresser's Keep. They're done.
And I'm glad that John, literally rode into the sunset forest, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The north.
Him and what's his
John
name?
got his scruffies with Ghost. He got to give his little puppy a pet, which people were mad about. It's like, John, why won't you pet your dog? Well, we got to see him pet his dog.
I was happy about that.
And then he got to pet his ginger. Good old Tormund.
Yeah, him and Tormund just ride off together like, I'll find you some bitches. Let's go.
Bro fist. See you in the north, guy.
But why keep going more north? Like, I don't know. There's no reason they need to be there. And there's nobody that's actually going to check on John to be like, are you staying? Why didn't he go back to Winterfell also? Like, I just don't.
Yeah, the fucking Unsullied left.
They did. They left.
Hey, John, they're gone. Come on down.
They went to Narth to go play with butterflies.
They went to Noth to go where Missandei's came from. Like, okay, can you imagine what they're gonna see when a boat full of Unsullied get off? Like, we are just here for the beaches. Like, I'd be like, those guys got spears and no dicks.
Yeah. Jeez.
No, John's ending was great. I mean, it makes sense. I kind of I don't know. I would have liked him to find love, but that's really not his character.
I like Sansa.
He had that at one point.
I like her becoming her character arc. It fit. From her being under the thumb and being brutalized and every single leading figure that she was around, Joffrey and Ramsay, for her to now be where she is, I was like, perfect. Arya's story, I get it. It was, I think, season 6 when she actually said, what's west of Westeros? I would like to see it.
Oh, yeah. Arya?
Westeros.
Yeah.
Cool. You get to go. I saw somebody said, what was the one where it's she founded it and she called it Westeros?
It makes me mad that fucking Arya is a flat earther.
I'm just going to keep going.
That's where all the maps end. Well, I want to explain to you what a globe is.
It's going to become Essos.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Oh, so fun fact for non-book readers and for you guys. The eastern section of Essos, think of it like East Asia, is actually all volcanic territory. It's also slightly north of where Valyria used to be.
Mordor?
And the Doom of Valyria is where the Targaryens came from. Nobody really knows what happened, but it's basically a big maelstrom and the shit's sunk into the ocean. It's trash. You can't live there. But north of that is like volcanoes. It's Mordor.
Yeah.
It's shitty-ass Mordor. And dragons live there, supposedly. That's where you can find dragons.
That was another thing. Maybe Daenerys was going to somehow have, like, Drogon was going to come back with more dragons to help out. As cool as it was seeing Drogon take out all of King's Landing, you imagine if she had 3 dragons there doing that.
They would have been a lot shorter.
They were like, done.
You would have had time for maybe 3 or 4 more episodes, I think.
Oh my god.
Oh man, yeah. There's
So much
people.
could have been.
I think people will be talking about this finale for a long time, not necessarily in a positive light, but mostly because of all the things that it could have and should have and would have, but didn't.
I'll just wait on the book and see how it actually ends.
I'm looking forward to George's work. I'm sure my daughter will be a grandmother at that point when they're finally out. But it was a fun ride for a while. There were some cool things. It definitely tweaked my interest. I feel like thematically and narratively I've learned a lot from watching Game of Thrones.
And I was even like late to the party too. I started much after.
You both were.
Yeah. Yeah, Phil kept telling me, he was like, watch it. You're going to love it. And granted, the first 3 episodes, they are a little rough to get through because, again, there was 0 character development. It was, here's already what happened. Yeah. Here's these people. Go. So it was kind of like, I don't know who these people are. I don't get why they're fighting, why they're friends. I don't get it. And then finally, once you get to like episode 5, it was like, aha. Okay.
I think it was season 2 you finally like gave in. I was like, finally. And then you're like, hey Phil, you've heard Game of Thrones? I was like,
season 2's good. 3 was really good.
All right. So a lot of mixed feelings. This has been a roller coaster ride for a lot of people. Let's go out. Favorite house. Who was your boy throughout the whole series? Who were you like, that's my jam. My money's on that house.
That's why the Red Wedding was so bad for me. I was a Robb Stark guy.
You were Robb Stark. Okay.
Robb. And then the fact that everybody was like, oh, him going and like stopping the war and to retreat a little bit so he could marry this woman is not right. And I was like, fuck, let him be. Like, he is saving your guys' ass. Let him get a wife. And everybody was right.
He was a kinslayer
That's what
too,
got
though.
him killed.
He put the car Stark to death.
That's what got him killed, yeah.
I mean, once again, man, he got lobotomized by that.
But I was all about the Targaryens. I have a Targaryen shirt. I was like, yes, fire and blood.
Fire and blood.
And she did. She
fire
said
and blood.
I'm going to take back what is mine with fire and blood. And we all cheered. And then when she actually did it, we're like, ooh, wait.
Yeah, man, she was kind of like, she kind of made it pretty clear like what she was going to do when she got there. And then she did it, and people were like, oh, that's what you meant. Oh.
She was like, fire and blood. Ash, like, I'm just going to murder everyone that ever did me wrong. And we cheered it on.
And then she started killing all the people.
And then she actually did it, and we're like,
she went a little above and beyond.
She did. I mean, once they rang the bells, it was, hey, hands off. She did.
Unless you're
she
Davos,
won.
and that's not what bells mean.
She literally had won.
Yeah.
All she had to do was go up there and take out Cersei, which would have been easy.
Yep.
But no.
I was a Jon Snow fan from minute 1, only because I'm a huge Dune guy. And Jon Snow is basically like a straight amalgamation of Paul Atreides from Dune. I mean, his dad dies when they claim like a really big important aspect of politics, and then he gets exiled, and it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, he's totally Paul Atreides. Jon Snow is the Kwisatz Haderach. He's the Messiah, the chosen one. Bow before him, the spice must flow. Fuck you. And then what happens? He rides off in the sunset and basically bangs a bunch of savages in furs.
Yeah.
Gingers as far as the eye can see. Sweeney,
my guy was always Tyrion. I always loved Tyrion because even though his family was shit, he was always like the good person in that family, and he was just always intelligent. He always wanted. He had to make up for what he lacked. Obviously, being looked upon as an imp. Obviously people looked down on him, and he just proved all of them wrong every time.
At one point, of all characters that I thought actually deserved the throne, I thought it was Stannis. Until he burned his own daughter at the stake, and I was like, You're not a nice guy. No, sir. I am no longer a Stannis backer.
Stannis was a religious zealot, and I can't handle that shit. No, thank
Demon
you.
Baby.
I don't care if the Lord
Lord
of
of Light
can
looks like
make
he was
fire
legit,
swords.
though.
I mean,
Baby.
so
Demon
were the
Baby.
old gods.
Yeah. Well, Stannis
Dragons
didn't do that. That
were
was
right.
all-
Old gods were right. The only religion in Westeros that was bullshit was the Seven,
Yeah.
which is the one that 99% of the Westerosis like adhered to. Ew.
Ew.
Okay, so fun fact: the Starks also were representations of the Seven. If you look at them,
Yeah.
I'll let you suss it out yourselves, loyal true believers. But this has been a long
It's
episode,
us.
and
We
Game of
gotta
Thrones. But Game of Thrones deserved our
It did.
time. Game of Thrones deserved.
We haven't been around for a while. Real life sucks.
If you stuck it out this far, we highly appreciate you. And please hit that like button. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, the Twitters, which we're not really on, but Instagram we're totes on. Check it, and please, tell some of your friends if you enjoy this. And come hang with us. Mention us, talk to us on our in our social medias. We want to know how you feel about these shows. And you say something funny, we might throw you a mention in one of our episodes. But thanks again for showing up for our journey through Westeros. I'm your noble Lord Phil.
This is House Sweeney.
This is just old Hot Pie. Hot Pie Andy, I'm
Andy
going to
has no
jump
name.
off a cliff now.
Jesus.
Boo, wieners, floppy wieners, game is done.
Meh.
Bye-bye.
It was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!